well, welcome to today's webinar. My name is Alex. I'm going to be hanging out with you guys here for a little bit today. And today is actually pretty special. I'm excited for today. The reason for that is we're actually doing the first webinar ever on our new product called Donor Relations. And if you've been hearing about this product for a while, we're pretty excited about it. It's a new addition to our Aplos suite. You may have seen the button over here on the left-hand side in Aplos for a couple of months now. And so we finally released it. It's out. And so today we're going to take a look at what that product does and how you can use it for your nonprofit. All right. So before we jump into it, let me give you just kind of an overview for those of you who might be new to Aplos. Aplos is an online software suite that's geared towards nonprofits and their needs. So we offer online software for accounting, donor tracking, donor relations now, and I'll explain the difference, as well as e-file and oversight. So essentially, if your organization needs to track finances, take care of donors, send emails from the system, e-file to the IRS for the Form 990, or have access to multiple nonprofits, we can help with that. So when you get into a free trial, which we offer a 15-day free trial to anybody for any one of our products, you'll see here that you land on the dashboard, and then on the left-hand side here are the different products that you can use in Aplos. Really, settings, contacts, and reports are kind of more of the global areas of the software, which means everybody has access to them. And then below that, you get into the actual products. So here's the accounting. You can use that, again, to manage your bank balances and your expenses and your liabilities and debt and fund balances. All that kind of stuff is all hosted through our accounting. We also have donations, and donations is what allows you to track who gave you money and for what purpose, and then be able to also receive online donations and then issue them contribution statements at the end of the year. That is all done through our donations product. Donor relations is what we're going over here today, and this allows you to better manage your relationships between your contacts as well as follow up with them in different ways, and I'll show you what that looks like here today. And then lastly, we have e-file, which again, if you're a nonprofit and you need to file the 990 form, either the N or the EZ, you can use our software to do so, and then that way you get taken care of with the IRS and you're good to go. So donor relations. So what does this product exactly do? Well, this product brings a couple of different functionalities to the table that Aplos hasn't seen yet before. And the first I want to show you is actually taking place in our contacts section. So if you're familiar with Aplos and you've been in a free trial or maybe even have an account with us for quite a while, you're familiar with the contact section, which is really just your big address book in Aplos. So here's all of your contacts. These are all the people that have been entered either by you manually or imported, or you've entered them in a donation or an accounting transaction. They've popped up here in your contacts section. And if you were to click into a person, you are probably familiar with being able to add this information here, like addresses, phones, emails, and then even being able to view their transactions and donations. But what is new to this screen is these three tabs right here: relationships, communications, and notes. So this is where donor relations is coming into play. This is adding functionality to the contacts section to allow you to better manage the relationships between contacts and your relationship with the contact as well. So let's take a look at relationships first. A lot of people have been asking for this functionality, and this is one of the things we're excited about here. So relationships allows you to link contacts with other contacts for a number of reasons. Either you have parents or a spouse or children or extended family, friends, coworkers, and others. Those are kind of the buckets that we've created for you to be able to link contacts with other contacts within your Aplos account. So let's say, for example, here's me. That's me for all of you who don't know what I look like. There you go. So there's Alex, and let's say I wanted to add some relationships for Alex. I would scroll down here and click the Add a Relationship button, and that's going to pop up this little field right here, and then I'm going to select what contact I want to be added as a relationship. So let's say I'm going to add Katie. For those of you who have contacted our support, you may have talked to Katie at some point, and Katie is my coworker, so I'm going to select that type, and then I'm going to click Save. So now, when I look at Alex, I can see that he has one coworker relationship, and if I were to click on that, it's going to show you all the coworkers that are listed in that particular bucket. So let's add another one. So let's say we've also got Jane here. Jane is another one of our support representatives, and she's also a coworker, and click Save. So there you go. And so then let's see, if we had, let's do others. So let's add somebody to others, add a relationship there. So let's say Megan is also one of my coworkers here, but we'll just add her as an other. So let's add that relationship. So now that you've added these relationships, when you land on the relationships page for Alex, you'll see that I have I've got 2 coworkers, and you can click on that, see who they are, and you can even click into that person, and then that will now bring you to that person's contact page. There's Katie right there, and you can see that she's linked to me as a coworker. I'm linked as a coworker to her, so it's a kind of an interrelationship bond, if you will. And then you can manage their contacts as well, their relationships. So that's relationships. Another thing that we've added here is communications. And communications becomes more important when we start looking at the deeper product of donor relations. But this essentially tracks all points of contact that you've had with this person. So if you've sent them an email from Aplos, it's going to show up here as a communication. You can also add a manual communication saying, let's say back on February 1st, I had a phone call with Katie and we talked about work, and then add that as a contact. Or excuse me, as a communication. So now what you're doing here essentially is creating a kind of a customer relation management type feature, or donor relation management. So you can have all your points of contact with people. So if you need to see, when was the last time I talked to so-and-so, you can add a note about that, or add a communication. So that way you know when the last time you talked to them was. Some other stuff that integrates with the communications here is being able to add a reminder. So let's say that I want to remind myself to contact Katie in 2 weeks from today. So contact in 2 weeks about donation, right? So I would add that date, add that content, and then click save. And that's going to add a reminder to this person. And that is actually going to pop up on your feed here, which we're going to take a look at here in just a second. The last kind of area here in the contacts that we've added is notes. So note is where you can just add a note. I mean, it's kind of self-explanatory. You can add any sort of note that you want for this contact. It's not necessarily a communication, and it's not a relationship, but this is more of just a standard, anything else that you want to track for this person. So if I wanted to say she likes snacks, I can put that in there and click save. So that way, if I ever want to know what Katie likes to talk about, I can talk about snacks with her because that's in my notes section. So that's what we've added to the contacts section, is relationships, communications, reminders, and then as well as notes. So let's take a look at how that now plays into the other areas of donor relations. So let's take a look at the feed. Now, the feed is what we've created to show you things that are happening, or activity that's happening in your Aplos account. So this includes, and if you were to go to settings, you can see what it includes. This includes reminders. So I set a reminder for Katie, which we can see now on the feed screen itself. This also adds birthdays and anniversaries. So important dates that you've added for a contact will show up on your feed as well as reoccurring donation changes. So if someone updates their reoccurring donation to you, that'll pop up on the feed, as well as a donation failure, and then first-time donors. Now, those become a little bit more robust when you're using donations and donor relations. If you're just using donor relations, then that kind of stuff won't necessarily be there because you're not using the donation side of Aplos. But if you're using both, then you have a full donor management suite to where you're recording donations, you're receiving them online, they're popping up on your feed, and then you can send emails straight from the feed and take notes on people. It really makes it pretty cool. So those are the things that you can see here on your feed. And each one of these things you can hide or show. So if you didn't want to see birthdays, you can turn that off or show it, whatever you'd like to do, and then go back to the feed to see what's going on. And so now that I look at the feed, I can see do now. Once you turn on donor relations, this pops up for everybody, which is just a communication to us, just so that you can tell us that you're using the feed. So here's an example. So let's say this is due now, for instance. So this is kind of the activity that's current right now. You can see upcoming activities or this week's activities. So upcoming is that reminder with Katie. So there is what I need to do. And then here are the actions that you can take on the right-hand side. So here's this one from Aplos. Here's the note. Here's a little reminder for you. Send an email telling Aplos that you're using the feed. You can dismiss this, which means just go away. I don't want to see it anymore. You can click that. You can also click postpone, and so that will give you a date that you can postpone the activity to. So if you want to do that in a week, you can. You can also add a communication, so you can add a note for this contact if you wanted to just kind of take a note on that. or say that, I followed up via phone, and so you can dismiss that and add a communication for it. You can also email a template, which we're going to take a look at here in just a little bit, or email just a custom message. So if I were to do that, just email a message, then what that's going to do is pop up this little tool here where you can pick who's the email coming from, and this is going to be all the users in your Aplos account. So I'm going to pick that. I'm going to say I'm using the feed, and it's awesome. Thank you. So if I can spell my own name, there you go. So what you do is, this is sending this to Aplos, so it's a little internal right now. But let's say this is happening with Katie. You can send an email to Katie directly from the system, a very custom email, and then click send. That's going to take care of the feed item, so that's going to be removed from your feed. You can always go back and view history if you'd like, and then that email will send in a time series about 1 to about 10 minutes, depending on where you run with our email sender. And you can do that with all of the points of contact. So just imagine being able to send an email from the system for a reminder. So contact Katie in 2 weeks. Okay, 2 weeks rolls around, you send her an email. Hey, how's everything going? Just wanted to check in. Boom, send it from the system, you're done. You can also email a template. So let's take a look at templates. So for those birthdays and those new reoccurring donors and anniversaries and other important dates, that kind of stuff, we have these templates that we've created for you. So that way you can just click, here's 5 birthdays that are happening this week. You can just go down the line and say, send the birthday template to this person, send the birthdays template to that person, and that'll send all those emails automatically to those contacts so that you don't have to do anything custom. So for each one of these templates, we've started you with 6 of them here. So birthday template, new reoccurring donor, Libent, which is basically last year but not this year. So if someone donated last year but hasn't donated this year, that's a template for that, as well as anniversaries, first-time donors, and donation failure. Now, these are templates. Now, these do need to be edited, so don't send these just yet. You will need to pop in here and then make some custom changes to this template, because otherwise it's going to say the Aplos Monster Foundation, and you don't want it to say that. So when you click into one of these templates, you can now customize this with your header. You can add sections, and we're going to go through the campaign builder here in just a second, so I'll show you a little bit more about how this works. But for any one of these templates, you can customize this to say whatever you'd like, add pictures, add logos, add buttons, add links, add whatever you need, and then click save and exit. And then that will save that template for you. So now the next time somebody has a birthday in the feed, you can now send them the birthday template automatically, and then that'll take care of that for you. Okay. Now, real quick, before I go into campaigns, one other thing that you can do here in donor relations is edit your automatic emails. So right now, the automatic emails that happen from Aplos, again, if you have donations turned on as well, are online donation receipts one time, online donation receipts for reoccurring donors, and then if for some reason the donation is unable to be processed, we send an email to that donor indicating why. So for each one of those templates, you can edit that as well. There is language in here that cannot be changed. So this stuff right here is all set information that cannot be changed, and that is for legal reasons. But what you can do is add your logo, and you can add sections below the required information to say or show whatever you'd like. So that's something else that you can do. So let's take a look at the last aspect here, which is creating a campaign. Now, this is how you can keep up to date with your donors by sending email blasts. So this can be for newsletters, this can be for one-time communications, this can be for weekly updates for your nonprofit, this can be for a call to action. So if you wanted to send a campaign to all of your volunteers and say, hey, thank you for being a volunteer, you're awesome, and in fact, we're doing this event in 2 weeks and we would love for you to sign up for it. So here's the information about it, and then go to our website if you want to sign up. All of those kind of custom emails and all of those campaigns that you want to do, you can now do in Aplos. So for one of these campaigns, let's go ahead and create one of these. And I'm going to create a campaign here. And once you do that, it's going to walk you through these steps of setting up the settings for the campaign, as well as developing the content, and then picking who it's going to go to, and then sending it. And you can schedule the send as well. So just for the sake of fun, let's do a campaign here called Webinar Thank You. And then the campaign description is this is an email that I will send to all participants of today's webinar. So there you go. And then the subject line will be thank you. Oops, thank you for attending today's webinar. 3 exclamation points. So you'd enter a campaign name, which is just kind of the title of the campaign that you're about to do, as well as the description, and then a subject line. Now this is what is actually going to show in the subject line for the email that people receive. And then you're going to pick the sender. So I want this to send from Alex Acree, alex@aplos.com, and then replies should be sent to the same thing, so alex@aplos.com. And then once you have this set, click Add Content. And now this is going to take you to where you can either design a new email to send, or you can pick one of your templates that you already have set up. So if I wanted to pick, the first-time donor or something and use that template and then just tweak it a little bit for my one campaign, I can, or I can create a completely new design, which is what I would like to do now. So create a new design gives you 2 options. One is fresh, and the other one is modern. Now, really what this boils down to is how the sections are kind of formatted. So the modern has very kind of clean cut, crisp, clear lines, so straight lines, as you can see there in the example. This also has a different color scheme as Fresh does. Fresh has a different color scheme than Modern, and Fresh has kind of the circular look. So whichever one you prefer, go ahead and pick that. I'm going to go with Modern today. So I'm going to click Modern. And now this brings me to my campaign or email editor, okay, template builder. So now what you've got here is the kind of blank canvas to where you can now create your email. Now we start you off with a couple of different sections here, like a logo kind of header, as well as a title up here, a picture, and then you got some text and a button, and you can edit all of this stuff, which we're going to do here real quick. So let's go through just a couple of sections here, and I'll show you how this works. So let's say that I wanted to add a picture here. I'm going to click on that. And then on the left-hand side is going to be where you're going to edit the section that you've now clicked on. So I clicked on the header picture. So now I can upload a file, or I can select from my library. Something else that we've added recently is called Filebox, which is the ability to upload multiple pictures to Aplos. So now you can have a library of images that you can use. I don't think I have any, so I'm going to go ahead and upload a file. Man, lots of pictures here. So let's say I'm going to go into, I should have thought about this beforehand, but let's say we do Aplos. Where's my graphics here? Well, let's do this. I'm going to take a screenshot of this, and I'm just going to use that for my logo. There we go. So now I'm going to upload a file. This is on my desktop now. So if I wanted to do that, there's that logo. I'm going to upload that. Okay, so that's going to be that. And then the alternative text is if this, for some reason the picture can't show, this is what's going to show as text. So I'll put that in. You can also hyperlink this to a URL and then change the alignment as well if you'd like. And then I'm going to change the header. So let's say thank you for attending today's webinar. And then you can make that a format like a heading. So I can make that a heading 1. I can change the font size to be as big as I want. I can also change the fields here. So I can add in the donor first and last name. So if I wanted to say thank you so-and-so for attending today's webinar, I can do that as well. And you can also bold this. You can italicize it, underline it. You can even enter a hyperlink if you wanted to attach that, a bullet list. So you can edit this text to be pretty much anything that you want here. And let's say below, I want to add a picture now. Let's do another file. Let's just do that file. That's fine. We'll just do the little handshake there. You can add another image if you'd like, and then you can also delete this section. So if I wanted to just completely delete this, I can click that little trash can, click delete, and then that should remove that for me like that. So that gets rid of that picture. So let's say now I want to customize my text here. So let's say I already said thank you. So I can say, hello everyone. I hope today's information was helpful. And if you have, oops, man, can't spell today. Any questions, please let me know. Alex Acree, alex@aplos.com. Oops, I tabbed, sorry. And then I can add our, oops, 1-888-274-1316. There we go. So there's my message. So it's going to say, thank you for attending today's webinar. Hello, everyone. Thank you for attending today's webinar. Let me know. All right. So there's the text, and then you can edit the button here as well. So let's say if I wanted to change this button to something or just delete it, I can. Oops, cancel. Let's get out of there. And then you can also add a new content here. So if I wanted to add another button or another picture or a divider or something of the sort, I can. This is just a spacing, which I can get rid of. And let's say if I wanted to do a new section, let's do that. And then let's add a divider. Oops, that's not working. Let's forget that. So what you can do is go through here and add dividers, add text, add headers, add buttons, change the color layout, anything that you want. You can change even the style option mid-email if you'd like, and you can even edit the footer as well too if you wanted to add some text down there. But then once you're done, click Save and Exit, and that's going to take you back to the building of your campaign here. So your content's done, and then now you just need to pick your recipients. So here is where you can start typing in names of people. So if I wanted to send this to Megan, I can type in her name and then she adds to the contacts. Or I can add contacts in the contact section. I can import a list of contacts for people and then add that to a group. So let's say if I wanted the group here of, let's see, what groups do I have? 1099 vendors or board members. I can add that whole group in there, which has a number of contacts. And then all you need to do is check this box that says, I have consent to email these people, which basically just means I'm allowed to email these people legally. And then click Schedule. And then what that will do is ask you for your address, since your address has to be included on the email itself. So let's do that. So there's our address, update organization details, and then you can now schedule it to either be sent later or send it now, which will send it within the next 10 minutes or so. So let's go ahead and just schedule it. So let's say I wanted to schedule it for tomorrow at 8 a.m., and then you can pick your time zone as well. So 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and then click Finish. And that now saves the whole campaign. So all of the settings that you just did, the email that you just built, and then the scheduling of when you want it to send, that saves it. So that will now send at that appropriated time. All right. So that is essentially donor relations in a very high-level nutshell. We could go through a couple of other details and in more detailed colors and whatnot, but I think it's better if you guys just jump in there and figure it out and see what colors you can do and really customize it to how you like it. And then let us know if you have any feedback. We're very interested to hear what you have to say about it. So what I'd like to do now is open it up for some question and answer time. So if you have any questions about Aplos or about donor relations, feel free to let me know. I'm going to pause myself for just a minute, and then I'll be right back.